Stacy. I wanted to talk to you guys and do another vlog today. Just wanted to share what's been going on with me for the last week or so. And what it's really been about for me is about behavior change, goals, and belief, keeping the belief alive. Um, so I want to first kind of start talking about behavior change. Behavior change is something that I've studied a lot in my education as a developmental therapist. I've done a lot of continuing education and had a lot of experience working with in a behavior type setting where my work is to set goals for clients and to use reinforcement schedules in a way that we're changing the behavior that they're seeing. So using different techniques to help somebody change their behavior. Well, in my own personal life, even though I can do this with other people and I kind of know the science around it and I know how to implement it, it's not always easy to change my own behaviors. I am a human being like the rest of you, and I have my own set ways of doing things. I have my own conditioned ways of thinking and perceiving in the world. And I've really come to the point in my life where I'm ready to change some of those behaviors. And I just said to a friend and colleague the other day, mark it down in history that Stacy Rhodes at this time in life is not resistant or angsty or just totally turned off by the word goal or by accountability. So I just want to talk to you about kind of my newfound honoring and celebration of behavior change. And what I've specifically found this last week, if you're following me in any of this stuff, you notice that I came back from Florida. I went to this conference for Market America, and I came back really pumped up on belief. You know, I've got this belief, I've got a why, I've got motivation for changing my behaviors. And I started off kind of like you would start out a race at a very quick pace, you know. And I posted a lot on social media. I started changing my spending habits. I did these vlogs. And then after a couple of weeks, my normal pace, the one that I've been conditioned to live with, the one that I've been comfortable in, the thought patterns that I have, just kind of my limitations in general as a person, some of the behaviors that I want to change just haven't been changed yet, and they started coming up last week. So what I did that was a little different, because usually when I get to this point and try and make any change, whether it's diet, exercise, wanting to set a goal and keep it, wanting to manifest a vision that I have, I'll usually start out pretty strong and be really motivated, and then I'll have pushed myself too far and my body isn't able to hold it anymore, and I'll get worn out or I'll get sick, or maybe my mind will come in and I'll start to doubt really what it is, why I'm doing what I'm doing. And then the judging mind will come and I'll judge myself and I'll feel like I'm not doing enough. You know, I'll start to tell myself some of these false things. That's usually my pattern. I've tracked it. I've spent a lot of time becoming aware of the patterns that I do. I've tracked it. Another pattern that I have is that I might, because I'm in this this time of the goal where things are getting a little tricky. You know, I'm in the part of the race where I really want to stop and just walk, you know, instead of run. When I get to that point, I tend to add something else onto my plate to get that beginning part of the creation process, to get that, ooh, I'm motivated, I've got this really great idea, I'm pumped up now, and it takes the focus away from my original goal. And then I end up not changing my behavior. I end up not meeting my goals. So this last week, I kind of came into the week and my body was worn out. I was tired. I think the last vlog that I posted about was self-care. I really have spent a lot of time in my journey and my process of being aware of what my body is telling me. So much of the practice and the work that I do is body based. So I was able to identify that my body really needed care, and I needed to slow down my pace a little bit. I needed to reprioritize, and I needed to let myself take a non-judgmental look at what I am doing, what I have done, and what I want to do. So when we're talking about setting goals for people in behavior change, the first part of it is getting a baseline. Just taking baseline data collection. Now this is what I do with my kids that I work with who might be school-age kids, or they're at home and they're working on something like, I don't know, let's say having a successful transition when they leave the home and go to somewhere in the community. So the first thing we would do is take a baseline for a week or two and see, just no right or wrong about it, just totally objective. You know, how many times does the child have a tantrum or get upset, and objectively, what does that look like? He screams and falls to the floor and, you know, pounds the floor. And then so what happened right before that? What happened right after that? These are just kind of things to objectively mark down for a couple of weeks. And when you do that with no judgment, you're able to really get a clear picture of what's going on and where that person is at right now. So I think in our lives, in lives of, you know, just regular people who are going in and out, adults who are going in and out of their day, we don't have a behavior therapist with us charting what we're doing every day. And we tend to have this concept of, this is what I want to do, without really knowing what we're already doing. And if we do get a glimpse into what we're already doing, we tend to be very judgmental about it. Oh, we're not doing enough. We're not doing it the right way. It's not perfect. It's not the way I wanted it. I'm speaking for me, but I think I'm speaking for a lot of people out there. I think we tend to do that. So in the mindfulness work that I've been doing, all mindfulness meditation is locating the place in you that is just registering information. It's completely non-judgmental. It's completely objective. It's not, there's no personal attachment to it. There's no right or wrong. It's just a pure registering of information. So I've been kind of trying to incorporate that in this last week that I had, because I knew from listening to my body that I had to bring it down. I couldn't continue to operate at the level that I was operating. And instead of beating myself up about that, instead of getting up, instead of adding something new, which I was very tempted to do, I just redirected it back to the baseline. And I made a list of, what have I done in the last 2 weeks? What am I doing now, currently? What can I do? And really coming at that from a mindful and compassionate angle. And what it brought me was a huge celebration of where I am. I was able to celebrate what I've done, and I had people in my life who I was able to share that with, and they celebrated with me. And it actually gave me reinforcement, because I was able to just look at it on paper, what I've done and what I'm going to do, and what I'm currently doing now, what my operating system can handle at this point. It gave me this internal reinforcement, because I actually felt good about it. I actually felt good about what I've done. And I didn't have anything fighting it. I didn't have anything in me fighting that I should have done it a different way, that I should do it better, that I should, you know, should. I didn't have that going on. I just had, this is what it is, plain and simple. So the other thing, speaking of reinforcement, is, you know, when you have your baseline of what you're doing now, and then you have kind of a commitment for where you want to be in, say, 3 months, or even just a month. In order to get from here to there, you have to change some things. You have to change some behavior. And it's nice to get reinforced along the way. One of the things that I'm working on is like a daily listening to something positive every day. This is what the Market America strategy is. Every day you should be listening to something about the business and something that motivates you, gives you that belief, helps you to stay strong in the belief. Last week, I didn't do that every day. I was really concentrating on my body. I took good steps towards going to yoga, doing meditation, journaling, breathing throughout the day a lot. But I didn't do a lot of listening to positive things. And I started to feel that doubt. And every once in a while, I would start to feel some negativity creep in. And which was just reinforcing the old behavior, you know? And so I've really learned that I'm starting to learn what my currency is. What is it that reinforces me, that keeps me going, that keeps me wanting to change the behavior, to put in the different things in place so that I can meet my goals in a month, meet my goals in 3 months, in 9 months. And one of those things I found is the positive listening to positive stories, listening to positive music, listening to people that really inspire me. And so I'm going to really commit this week to making sure that I'm doing that. I already did it today. I want to do that every week because now I've found through having this week of kind of repacing, you know, getting to what my pace is, knowing what my limits are, I was also able to see how important reinforcement is and how I want to give myself that reinforcement. Now, I always say I wish I had somebody, you know, following me around with M&Ms, and maybe I'd like, you know, have a really super clean house and I'd have it all together if somebody was giving me chocolate, you know, every, you know, 3 or 4 times I did something great. But you know, I don't have that going on for me. I don't have a little M&M fairy. But I do have my own realization that positive info can be very reinforcing to my spirit, and it can keep me anchored in why I'm doing what I'm doing, why I want my vision to get out there. And talking with other people who support me has also been very reinforcing because it helps me to realize that my dreams can come true. My vision can be born. When we are willing and witnessing participants in each other's lives, we can help to reinforce. We can help to be non-judgmental if somebody's just figuring out their baseline. And we can say, hey, this is just what you're doing right now. That's all it is. This is what you do. No right or wrong about it. Now I see that you also want to change and you want to be at this level. Then we can help reinforce each other, you know, just by helping to keep each other accountable. Hey, I know you wanted to have this many people come to your EPC show March 18th. So let me remind you every once in a while to do one thing on your list to make that happen. You know, finding people in your life who can reinforce you with accountability and with positive words. So those are the big things I found. This is coming on to be 15 minutes, a kind of long blog. I like to talk. But I don't know, take this in consideration. If you're starting something new, if you're starting a new business, if you're starting a new practice, if you're starting a new lifestyle, wanting to live a new different lifestyle, in the beginning it's going to be challenging. You're going to be up against your limits, and you're going to be trying to find a way to keep going. So as you're doing that, just remember, Take it back to the baseline, be non judgmental, and get reinforcement.